Hello and welcome to a post-game edition of the Nittany Dispatch. I'm John Sauber, Penn State beat writer at the Center Daily Times. She's Audrey Snyder doing the same at The Athletic. We are in State Farm Stadium where Penn State defeated Boise State 31-14. It is past the new year here, even in Mountain Time. I think we're in Mountain Time. It's a very confusing time zone, if I'm being honest, based on how they do things at certain times of the year. But Penn State will play in the Orange Bowl in the semifinal. Audrey, how you doing?
I got to be honest, John. So my eyes are killing me. I'm allergic to smoke, and Penn State's locker room reeked of cigar smoke. I am slightly dying right now. I'm going to rip some Benadryl either during this or as soon as we get out of here. But other than that, I mean, I'm great. Happy New Year. Penn State advances again, takes care of business, puts the throttle down. This team's for real. And I'll have a story up on The Athletic here, but by the time you're hearing this in the wee hours of Wednesday morning, I guess it is, this team's for real. They have a shot to do something that hasn't been done in my lifetime, your lifetime, many fans' lifetimes as this season continues on. And yes, I know they probably will not be favored in the next round. But, John, we are witnessing a historic season that we know for sure this will be one of the top 4 teams this year based off the playoff field. First ones to punch their ticket through to the semifinals. They absolutely throttled Boise State, bottled up Ashton, Jeanty. They knew the assignment. They understood the assignment. They executed it all around, like really, really solid win.
Yeah, and you mentioned that this team is different. That is the premise of my post-game coverage of this as well, right?
There we
go.
You
find that at centerdaily.com. Like, I think that's my biggest takeaway from all of this, right? This is not a typical Penn State team. I asked a lot of players and coaches in the locker room afterward what makes them different. They all point to kind of how much they love each other and how much they care about each other and wanting to carry this out as long as they can. You could see that it was funny. I was talking to Dvon J-Thomas in the locker room and him talking for 4 or 5 minutes, and there's so much smoke lingering that I can feel it hitting me in the eyes and it's getting trapped behind my glasses. Yeah, it was a tough scene in there for us. But no, it was weird.
I need to fumigate my clothes, John, to be honest. Yes. I need to go home and just fumigate. Yeah.
But it was an excited locker room, but I think it was one that still understood there's a lot left to do, right? And I get the sense that they know they're not done. I don't think they're done. You mentioned the next matchup, whether it's Georgia or Notre Dame. I think the speculative spreads have been around 1.5 points with Penn State as underdogs, which is essentially a coin flip, which I'm not surprised by. I don't know. I kind of think I'm done doubting this team. I think we said that last week, and I think that continues. There's no reason to believe that this team can't win a national title at this point. It's going to be one of 4 teams left. It has to win twice to do it. It's the only team that now only has to win twice to do it, right? Everyone else still has to win 3 more. They've already taken care of the first one in that group. And this is, I don't know, it feels like it just feels different, right? I have a hard time going away from that specific phrasing because we've seen Penn State teams falter even in these moments. They played the best running back in college football, and he did nothing against them. Absolutely nothing of consequence. The 1 third down he picked up on I think it was a 3rd and 27, something like that. He had a 28-yard run, and it was okay. Like, he gets that chunk play and then does absolutely nothing else the rest of the game. He doesn't get Barry Sanders' rushing record, which Penn State was, I'm pretty sure, well aware of based on the conversations I was having in the locker room, and made that a point of pride to not allow that to happen. There was this sense in the locker room that all week it was, Penn State will win, but Jeanty will get his record, and they took that personally, and they wanted to make sure he didn't get it, and they were right. He very much did not get that record and didn't really get close to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of pride in that. And, it's one of those things, talking to Penn State's running backs in that smoky locker room in the J-Wad Cider. And one of the things Cider said was, we all saw the graphics all week with Ashton, Jeanty on them. And he's like, hey, this guy absolutely deserved it. He's the Heisman runner-up. Like, we understand that, but we've got really good running backs here too. And Kaytron Allen made a statement tonight, I think. We talked so much, John, about how these backs have gotten better as the season's gone on, and how they're on a heater here in this last month. And Kaytron Allen was just kind of everything that you thought he was going to be this season, that you kind of hoped and wished, that Penn State fans were hoping that he'd be this guy. 17 carries, 134 yards, had the long run of 23, had a huge run, or a 71-yarder called back on a holding penalty. And this was, Sider even said, he goes, I wish that Kaytron would have had that moment on the 71-yarder just because, he pointed to Journey Brown and his run in the Cotton Bowl and Singleton and the run that he had in the Rose Bowl. And he's like, Kaytron deserves to have a moment like that in a bowl game. And I caught John after Boise State's first touchdown. The player did Kaytron's kick in the door down celebration. So, of course, I had to ask about that afterward and say, hey, did you notice that? Yeah, he noticed. And he said, yeah, that fired me up. That he thought it was a little bit disrespectful, but understood, that someone tried to steal his celebration. So this was a backfield that I thought was running angry a little bit. I think they wanted to kind of show like, hey, don't forget about us. We're good too. And then to have Nick Singleton close the door on this game in the fourth quarter with his 58-yard touchdown run. I think these were significant moments. And the fact that now there's the argument of Penn State, not even the argument, I think the reality, they got away from running the ball. Right. And we saw them get too cute at times in this game. And this will certainly be a talking point in the next 7 days or however many days we have until the 9th. You want to see that consistency. And we saw, Drew Allar with some of the inconsistencies tonight as well. And you just keep thinking, okay, if this team gets to that level where everything's clicking, everything's hitting, it's going to be scary. And I think they're really close to that. They're playing really, really good football right now. But I still think there's that next level, that upper echelon for these guys to get to. And if they do, look out, because I think it's really a scary thing.
Yeah, and you mentioned the inconsistencies with the offense. And I almost wonder if the play calling doesn't look as bad if Drew Allar plays a little better, quite frankly, right? Yep. Like some of the getting away from the run is your quarterback's not making the plays that he's capable of making. He missed a couple throws high tonight. That's been a problem at times this year. That it reared its head. That being said, their first 2 touchdowns when they go up 14-0 is because Drew Allar threw 2 absolute dimes, one to Omari Evans and one to Tyler Warren, throws that I don't know, him, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward can make, and no one else really, right? And even frankly, I wonder if it's just him and Shedeur Sanders who can make those throws in those situations. Just absurd throws, makes these massively important plays. It's funny, I was talking about this is the kind of run that he can go on to put himself in the national spotlight, right? To put himself in the Heisman conversation next year, right? To be kind of the guy, or to change the conversation even this year about him and what he is as a pro prospect down the line, right? I think this was the kind of game that it started like that for him, and then some of the inconsistencies reared their head again, and you saw some of the struggles. I wonder if, and I'm not even saying this is for sure true, I just wonder if we would be talking about them getting away from the run if the guy throwing the passes threw some better ones.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point, because I think back to the third down play where Tyler Warren's open, middle of the field, and Allar sails the ball, and Warren gets a hand on it, but you got to put that ball on the money. That's
Warren
not
also
on
has
Tyler
to catch
Warren.
That one. I think it's on both of them. I think Allar has to make a better throw there, and I think Warren has to catch it because both hands on it.
It's a tough catch, though. I think.
But that player
you've got to deliver to be that elite quarterback, right? To be that NFL prospect, you got to make that throw. And I think that to me is one of those plays that if this thing goes the other way, we're talking about that, right? But there also was the 2nd and 19 moment earlier in the game that Penn State was able to work itself out of, right? And you saw Allar, I believe, at a scramble, and then they picked up a penalty. Man, there were so many penalties in this game on both sides. There was a lot of laundry on the field tonight. But yeah, I think I don't want to forget about this either, because I think this is important tonight too. For all of the talk of can anyone compliment Tyler Warren this year? Can someone in the receiving corps step up? Can someone make a play? It took a while, John, but they got here. And Omari Evans made some nice plays tonight. Obviously the 38-yard touchdown is the one that stands out. And a cool scene after that, which I don't know. Again, I haven't seen the TV copy yet, except it's flashing in front of me in the press box, distracting me.
See it too. Yes.
After Omari Evans' touchdown, James Franklin, as excited as I've ever seen this man in his 11 years here on the sideline, finds Omari Evans and then loops back and finds him again to give him another hug. And if my lip reading is correct from up here, it was something along the lines of, "Hey, Omari, how about that?" Just purely excited, because if you think back to the preseason, John, and it was, hey, we got to get Omari Evans rolling. We think we can. They did that at West Virginia. And then it's just, you've seen the inconsistencies between then, but huge moment for him tonight as well. And again, if you can just get some more consistency from this offense, I think it's again a really scary proposition.
Yeah, and I do, like, you say that about guys stepping up. At the end of the day, the receivers had 5 catches, right? Like, which is fewer than Tyler Warren, and it was just Trey Wallace and Omari Evans that had those catches. Only 8 targets, which again combined is fewer than just Tyler Warren. But I think at this point, this is just what this team is, and those receivers are going to be complementary pieces at best, and it's going to be an offense that centers around Tyler Warren in the running game and Drew Allar, right? And Allar's ability to sparingly hit the receivers, but really get the ball to Warren, get the ball to the backs when he needs to. I want to go back to be clear. I'm not saying Andy Kotelnicki's correct for going away from the run. I do think he got away from the run too much. I think it's important to note that there's more at play there, right? Like the one short yardage situation where they fake the sneak and then Allar rolls out and just makes a stunningly bad decision to try and throw back across his body to Khalil Dinkins, throws it behind him, almost throws a pick. Like, just a horrible decision to make that throw. I respect the confidence to try it, right? And that's part of the good and the bad of Drew Allar, is having that unbridled confidence that he's going to get the job done in those situations. But yeah, I think it was a little bit sloppy offensively, and a little bit sloppy offensively got them 31 points, right? Yeah. And that's with giving up a short yardage or a short field when Drew Allar and Nick Singleton had a botched exchange where they could have easily had a touchdown there to make it 21-0 early. And frankly, I think they would have put the game away at that point if they had done that. But they kept Boise State at arm's length all night, right? Like, it never really felt like there was a moment where it's like, okay, this is where Boise State's going to get the big one and get back into it. All right.
I don't want to fire you up too late because, John, I know that we've got to get out of here and like they're deconstructing this facility around us.
Yes.
So I don't want to anger you too much with this, but you're going to say about moments that got away. Our press box seats, they were very separated, so I haven't had a time to kind of poke the bear on this one. But you and I agree on this. Boise State opening drive.
Unbelievable.
Got the best running back in America.
Unbelievable.
What are you doing?
Listen, of all teams, you have made me angry. So congrats on.
Yeah, I know.
But of all teams,
I was like, I don't know if I want to go down this road because that's when you kind of had the opportunity to keep it close and make your statement on the opening drive.
Teams in the country to have a 4th and 1 in that specific situation. You have Ashton, Jeanty.
Was it 1 or 2? I thought it was 2.
I believe it was 4th and 1. It could have been 4th and 6. I wouldn't care. Like, you have the best running back in the country. At that point, he had not really struggled that much. Maybe he could have, cast it off as a slow start, but they didn't know that he was going to be held to 30 carries and just over 100 yards, right? Not breaking the record that they were definitely chasing at the end of the game with some of those carries, found 17.
Oh yeah.
Which, I mean, whatever, do what you want. It doesn't bother me. I'm sure some people get upset about it. I don't really care. You of all teams have to go for that. You are a double-digit underdog. You have been aggressive all season, right, in those situations. And that's where you're going to turtle. But the good news is, Audrey, they took the points. So that means the football that happened in front of us doesn't matter because they took the points. That means they were automatically given 3 points, right? No,
they were not.
They missed the field goal because you're never taking points. You are never taking points. They lost an opportunity to score 7 points in that situation because they didn't they postponed. They wanted to postpone losing a little bit later and end up getting burned even worse. It's unbelievable decision making there, especially like that.
Bad miss.
That's in a big moment. That's like being scared of the moment. That's what it is.
Yeah. That kick was so wide left that I was like, somebody had to get a hand on that. Like something had to happen.
Right.
No, first of 2 missed field goals for Boise State.
I will say the second one is a perfectly reasonable field goal to attempt. You're down 10, you make it a 1-possession game. It was 4th and 25 too. Like that is a situation where it is a good decision to kick a field goal. And you know how much has to be in your favor for me to make that statement? A lot. So I get that one. The first one is completely inexcusable. There were a couple of times too I thought Penn State should have gone for it and didn't. Right before the half, when they were deep in their own territory, I don't know. There were a couple chances there, I think, to swing the game, and neither team kind of took them, and so therefore the better team just won rather than having the variance go in their direction. Let's take a brief break from the podcast to discuss our friends over at Roback. Yes, Roback. You know them. You love them. I especially love them, as you can tell from the Roback logo here on my hoodie, the Roback logo on my hat. I wear them all the time. I wore them today to Penn State's Fiesta Bowl victory over Boise State. It's the Roback Performance shorts, the Roback Performance hoodies. And if you'd like it too, you can go to roback.com and use code TND20. That's TND20 is in the Nittany Dispatch 20 to get 20% off your first order over at roback.com. And I can't recommend it enough. It's as comfy as it gets. It's as cozy as it gets. I wear it in all occasions, and I can't get enough of it. That's TND20 over at roback.com.
Future Fans is a new brand that helps little kids become big sports fans through storybook-led activity boxes. Penn State's playoff run is continuing, and you want to make sure that your kids are ready to experience the magic with you. Our friends over at Future Fans have an offer. You can use the code DISPATCH to save 15% off your order. It's only $49.99 at futurefans.com. It's designed for kids ages 4 to 8 and the football fan adult in their life. So you get a chance to explain the sport that you love and that you're enjoying watching Penn State play this postseason with the little ones in your life. Again, that's our friends over at futurefans.com, and you can save 15% with the code DISPATCH. You're not baiting me with any variance, any momentum talk. Not tonight, John. Not today. Not doing it. But what I do want to get on, because this is like kind of the news element of this, that we've now buried the lead 15 minutes into our show.
Yes.
Abdul Carter's really clicking the night. Abdul Carter's status moving forward. James Franklin did not have much of an update afterward. Carter exited in the first half with what looked like left arm, left shoulder type injury. And
I think the second part of your statement there is probably
I don't even remember what I said.
You said left shoulder.
Oh, left. Well, yeah, because they came back and then they taped it up high. And he then came back on the sideline, kind of the towel around his head type thing. Was not coming back in that game, like tried on the sideline a little bit to give it a go. Trainers then retaped him, but no helmet to be found. So that now is a big storyline moving forward. His health, he was not in the locker room afterward, and I was not expecting that we'd hear from an injured player, but that certainly is something to monitor moving forward. And one of the interesting things, Penn State, the way they came out in this game was with that 3 defensive end grouping with Amin, Vanover, Dani, Dennis-Sutton, and Abdul Carter. And I asked Tom Allen about this in the locker room, and he said, he said, we wanted to move Abdul Carter around tonight. We wanted to get him as close as we could to the point of attack, but we also were going to have him play at linebacker a good bit. And he gets hurt, throws a wrench in their game plan. But Dani Dennis-Sutton was the guy tonight who was just an absolute game wrecker. Total domination from him tonight. And I was talking to him in the locker room afterward, and I said, I think you get overshadowed by Abdul Carter because of the draft prospectus, but you're every bit as good, every bit as talented. Do you feel like you made a kind of statement tonight when you had to step up and be the guy? And he kind of deflected a little bit and said, I don't think I made a statement. I think our defense made a statement that regardless who's out there, who is or isn't out there, we're going to stop the run. And when we rush the passer, we're going to get home. Penn State won this game in the trenches on both sides. Andy Kotelnicki said afterward, this is what championship football teams do. They win in the trenches. And to me, that's another example of how and why this team is different and the way they're built up front. The fact that also, when you recruited this 2022 class, you knew it had the potential to be special. It's not a guarantee. Right? It's, hey, we think Abdul Carter's going to be really good. We think the Knights is going to be really good. Drew Allar, Nick Singleton, Kaytron Allen, so on and so forth. It still takes a lot of development. Takes a lot of hitting on the right guys. A lot of these guys peaking at the right time. And Penn State's just reveling in that moment right now. And that's kind of, to me, like you see a guy like Dani Dennis-Sutton go out there and just be an absolute force. That's what winning teams do, John. They have guys who step up from all different places and positions. And a little bit thought that I had, which again is kind of a little bit of a crazy thought, but he was here tonight. KJ Winston's on the sideline in the second half with Abdul Carter, and Penn State is beating the brakes out of Boise State to punch their ticket to the semifinals. That is special stuff. And I hope fans are enjoying this run, enjoying this moment, because seasons like this don't come around often.
They really don't. And it's not over. And
No.
I don't know. I think it's going to end in Atlanta, right? Like, I don't know if they're going to win a national. I think I said this before did I say this before the
I don't remember, John. I remember nothing. I'm over here frantically searching to see if I even have a flight if it went through for Fort Lauderdale. Who knows?
Don't worry. I booked a flight to Fort Lauderdale in the fourth quarter. Right before I tweeted that I think Penn State fans were safe to do such a thing. But I think I said it. If someone would like to remind us, feel free, reach out to us on social media, wherever you will. And I think I said that I thought it would end in Atlanta, right? And I didn't know how. I stand by that, and I feel pretty strongly about that now. I just think this is one of the two best teams in the country, or one of the three best teams in the country. And I think the other two are facing each other tomorrow in the Rose Bowl. Mm-hmm. And if you're listening to this after New Year's Day, you already know who won the Rose Bowl. So just ignore that statement. But I do think Ohio State and Oregon are two of the other three best teams in the country. I think the three best teams are in the Big Ten this year. I don't know. I'm going to pick them to beat Georgia or Notre Dame. I don't really care which one it is. I think they will have an advantage offensively against either of those teams, especially with, honestly, doesn't matter who is at quarterback with Georgia. I think they would have an advantage over Notre Dame on that side too, just because Notre Dame is a little bit similar, but a little bit less. I don't trust their passing game as much, I guess. I don't think they have the firepower necessarily that Penn State does, even if it's less consistent from Penn State. I don't know. This feels like a team that has a real chance to win a national title, but I think that is probably a good place to leave it for now. This is a little bit brief for the post-game pod. We will be back next week. Don't worry, we're getting kicked out of the press box. There's only so much we can do.
Yeah, we got to find our way back to the hotel, and the last bus is leaving here shortly, so we got to go.
But we will be back to preview that Orange Bowl game, whoever it's against, Notre Dame and Georgia. Enjoy your New Year's Day. If you're listening on New Year's Day, Happy New Year to everybody listening. Enjoy watching a stress-free day of football without having to worry about if Penn State is going to do anything, and enjoy them again on Thursday, January 9th. It's an exciting season to follow. It's an exciting season to cover. We appreciate all of you following along. If you'd like to find Audrey's writing, you can find it over at The Athletic. You can find her on Twitter at OddSnyder4, and on Blue Sky, if you search Audrey Snyder, you can find me on Twitter at John Sauber. You can find my writing at CenterDaily.com. You can find me on Blue Sky if you search John Sauber. Don't forget to leave those 5-star ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts. Hit the thumbs up button down below on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. We are now, I believe, over 1,500 subscribers on YouTube. We are eternally grateful for all of you and very thankful for your listenership and your viewership. It's been a lot of fun for us to do this. We deeply appreciate that. But until next time, we will be back next week to discuss the Orange Bowl. Until then, thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.